Hello there. Before we get into this, do you mind if I share with you a mighty King Tusk hunt?
Yeah, the bow's a little bit good, guys.
Hello, my fellow hunters, and welcome to Wild Hearts Bow, the final of our weapon guide series, and admittedly, let's call it slightly delayed after the last 7, but I did want to complete the set for you all, and honestly, I have been absolutely loving my time with the bow so far. It ironically feels quite similar to Nodachi in that you're channeling / charging a thing that lasts for a while, and you have to be really on top of your dodging while doing that before getting a huge burst of damage payoff. And you'll see that play out as we go through the weapon, and I give you, well, the best way to actually use it in its full effectiveness, because make no mistake, there is an argument to be made that the bow, when played optimally, is the best weapon in the game, capable of the highest consistent damage output, and in multiplayer where you have a lot of time to yourself, this thing is absolutely nuts. So let's go over the basics here and what the weapon's trying to achieve. It has 2 modes, horizontal or vertical. In vertical it fires Otoya arrows, and in horizontal it fires Haya arrows. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But for ease of description, I'll just keep it at vertical and horizontal. At vertical then, you've got your usual pew pew that you might expect. This is kind of weak, it's kind of slow, it's not really worth using that much. You can hold this down though to charge the shot up to level 1 and then level 2 for a bit more of a pow, but this really is like ultimate filler shooting. You hopefully will never have a reason to actually use the basic shots. Then if we switch to horizontal, you will fire in a wider spread pattern, a 1-2-3 combo, each one having an extra arrow. These arrows will do a little bit of damage, but then remain stuck in the Kemono as these glowing green thread spots. This is the whole kind of shtick of the higher arrows. You then can use the vertical component when you reinforce the bow, and you can reinforce it by triangle or your controller equivalent, and now you are level 1 enforced. When this happens, it changes the type of shot you'll be firing. In vertical level 1 reinforced, you'll fire a quick little pop that goes through the monster and will detonate every single horizontal arrow that is embedded into it. And there we have the initial kind of flow of the weapon. Pepper the monster with the horizontal arrows, detonate them with the vertical arrows for a big pop of damage, and repeat. If we reinforce our vertical mode twice, the maximum you can, well, we can do a big hit. It should be noted that you can just run around with yourself on bolstered level 2, and you don't have to worry about it going away or anything. You can wait for the opportunity to actually use it when you've got an opening and time. So firing this then is a full draw planted to the floor shot that feels very Dragon Piercery if you've played Monster Hunter Bow, and it fires one hell of an explosion of energy against the monster, which, yes, you guessed it, detonates every single higher arrow that is currently in there. This is very, very potent. Then if we go to the horizontal side of things, reinforced once, You will do a rapid series of shots, and then one final shot as long as you hold it down the fire button. If you let go early, you will stop early. This is obviously great for peppering a lot of our detonation arrows rapidly into the Kemono if you have a little opening. Now, you can dodge around while doing this, so you can iframe through attacks and keep up the rapid fire, which really starts to layer in the skill ceiling of the bow. Then we have level 3, this is the volley. This is where it's at, and this is incredible. So you can move where you are currently landing at the volley with the right stick, and you are raining down these higher arrows onto the enemy and absolutely filling it. Now, it should be said, there is a maximum amount of higher arrows you can detonate at once, and they will eventually naturally run out if you don't detonate them. So you don't need to think about doing like 6 volleys and then detonate. One volley, detonate. One volley, detonate. That is always the flow that you're going for an optimum damage output with this weapon. And now we can access the, technically speaking, highest damage potential of the bow. Use a full volley that will slowly drain your stamina, and the volley will cancel when you run out of stamina or let go of the button. Put as many of our higher arrows in, then do a level 2 bolstered vertical shot for the big explosion of damage that then detonates everything for even more damage. At least on paper, that is the best way to do damage if the Kemono was just kind of stood there letting you do it. But there is actually a better method that we'll get to that you've been seeing a lot in the hunting I've been showing you. So, when you leap off a box and hit one of the fire and arrow buttons, you will do just that, fire a detonating, exploding arrow. So this is a nice way, a quick way to pop off our extra damage and also get yourself some distance from the Kemono. If you look at the stacks of crates as level 1, level 2, level 3, well, that dictates the bolster level of the bow you will land with. So on a level 3 crate stack, you will land with a maximum level 2 bolstered bow, which means the second you hit the ground, you can then immediately go into the volley. And there you have quite a fun little loop. Hit a full volley, climb up the crates, aerial detonate, land, hit a full volley, climb up the crates, hit an aerial detonate, land. You see how that speeds up the process and makes a very, very smooth damage rotation. It should be noted that while volleying, you can roll and iframe attacks, and it's very generous iframes too. Obviously, this is a massive use of your stamina, and spoiler alert, stamina skills are incredible on the bow because of this, but essentially, this is where the Nadachi comparison comes in. We are volleying for 3, 4, 5 seconds once you get a good amount of stamina skills. So you want to get that full volley off, but you're doing it while rolling through and iframing attacks, and then continuing to volley. Also, like the Nadachi, you're charging for 5 seconds, but rolling and iframing attacks while continuing to charge, which I think is why I've kind of fallen in love with this weapon, because it just kind of makes sense to me after the Nadachi, well, playtime that I have. In any case then, it gets even better than crates. But before that, we'll talk about springs. After launching off a spring, you will do a big, powerful spread shot, which of course puts a load of higher arrows in the Kemono, and then you land with the ability to do a level 1 bolstered Otoya shot to detonate them. So a nice 1-2 pop of damage combo from the spring. When we look at our torch, it does what you might expect, which is, you know, set your arrows on fire and give you flaming shots for the duration of the buff. That's all well and good. So that's kind of your standard bow, right? You've got level 1 and level 2 bolster, you've got vertical and horizontal, you have 3 ways to shoot in each position, and the general interaction is horizontal prepares the Kemono and vertical detonates the Kemono. And then you interweave those ways of doing things depending on how much time you have, how well you know the Kemono you're fighting, and the flow of the hunt. But if you want the absolute optimum way to do the most damage as fast as possible, that if you can keep up will utterly shred things, well, yeah, you've been seeing it. The glider is the hero, the champion of the bow. What you want to do then is get your level 2 bolster horizontal and start doing the volley. Dodge the Kemono while you're doing it, fill it with higher arrows, and then jump. While in the air, pull out your glider, and then from the glider, go into your aerial attack. This will detonate the arrows, do a big pop of damage, and then you will land on the ground fully bolstered, able to then go into the volley immediately. And it gets even better. With how the spacing works, your glider will nicely land next to you just as you about run out of stamina from doing the volley. So you then just grab it again, detonate in the air, land, volley, grab the glider, detonate in the air, land, volley, grab the glider, detonate in the air, land, grab, boom! You get where I'm going with this. That loop ad infinitum is the output of the bow, and it really is kinda silly how much damage this does once you get the hang of it. It's not Karakuri thread intensive because you can reuse the gliders so much, and every detonation, because it's just so much damage, a lot of the time you will just get a flinch or a knockdown or a part break, which then just gives you even more time to do the whole cycle, and it feels fantastic. So you have this weapon that can pump out massive amounts of burst damage, especially in multiplayer where you're being left alone, but you have a great solo flow to it too. Being able to dodge while doing the volley is everything, because if you couldn't, it would feel just awful. But as you can, well, the world is your oyster here. It really, really is. You can dodge while doing most important things the bow can do, and it has quite the reach to it with said dodging. Little hops in any of the cardinal directions, and if you dodge again, you will then go on to do an extra roll in the direction you're now pressing. So you can do a little hop forward, a little roll to your right, and so on and so forth, all while having the weapon out ready to go at the cost, of course, your stamina. So that's worth bearing in mind too. This is quite a mobile weapon, even if it initially doesn't come across as it from all the bolstering and sitting there and firing shots. You have to just kind of get a feel for it. Skills-wise then, that really matter with the bow, well, anything that affects stamina, of course. Anything that gives you a longer time to volley, that gives you more room forever with rolling, and because of that, the skill that just straight up makes bow attacks that cost less stamina, is the absolute peak that you want. That said, you've got one that will fire extra higher arrows at the end of the volley. That is really good. And then the one that makes your bolstering happen faster is also really good, as it makes the weapon feel so much more punchy while you're going along, to just quick 1-2 snap into level 2 bolster and off you go. Past that, it depends what kind of build you're going for with the bow. Because of the glider detonating volley cycle, we don't really need skills that affect the full vertical level 2 planted draw, so they kind of get ignored. But if you are into using that, if that's what you like, there are plenty of good skills that will affect that, like making it happen 30% faster, or it just doing more damage. In any case, damage is the thing. I mean, just look at the training log when you do a big detonation. It just doesn't stop, and it's absolutely ludicrous, and I love it. Alright guys, that is my introduction to the bow, a tip-top way to play it, and why you would want to. For now then, like if you enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more, consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.